others, consider the needs of others. I don't know, glasses on. I'll be able to read where you're going. That's one way to do it. What's another way to do it?
Or to let go of the negative thoughts?
Yeah.
Well, consider the consequences from those negative thoughts. Consider how they won't bring a benefit to you, right? That's all part of self-control, is considering those thoughts, weighing your options, right? If you don't want to share, the whole point of it is just even writing that down means you are able to determine, you are able to discover those thoughts and how they play a role in your feelings. So you're already on the path of directing your thoughts and identifying those thoughts. So that was the purpose of the activity, to think about a time when your thoughts led to certain feelings that may have led to certain actions, whether they were positive or negative. Okay, so you're going to share.
Well, that's really huge. I mean, because I don't, it's like, okay, if my friend's bullying me, if I think she's bullying me, challenging me on a material item I have, or whatever, long story short, I do need to, take self-control on my thoughts. Consider the needs of hers, and consider what the consequences and benefits would be from that. Because you said we're always thinking, so eventually another thought's going to come in, something's going to happen, I got to go do the dishes, and then that passes.
And even so, I've learned with myself, if I'm replacing those negative thoughts by considering the possible consequences, then I start thinking, then those calming thoughts come in, right? Those cool thoughts. We talked about hot thoughts and cool thoughts last season. I mean, when we did the summer classes on character. Last season, really. We talked about replacing those hot thoughts, identifying what's making you feel this way, what thought is making you feel this way, and replacing those hot thoughts, which could be, okay, she needs to stop, I'm going to slap her. I mean, whatever the hot thought is, and replace them with a cool thought where, well, okay, maybe she's having a bad day, or, it's not really worth it to get in a screaming match, let me just walk away.
Or you can actually tell her what's making you feel this way, and for she can, hopefully empathize what you feel. So to make sure, if you're feeling angry, let her know that you're feeling angry. We're gonna touch on that in a later unit in self-control.
Okay. All right. So moving on. If you can turn to the next page. Be your own best critic, not your worst. All right, that's what we want to do.
I'll try if I can't do it. Oh, you know me? Okay.
Be your own best critic, not your worst. Control the way you think about you. Have you ever heard the saying, "You're your worst critic"? Well, most of us are. We can really put ourselves down, especially when we act in a way that is disappointing. Although it is okay to be disappointed with our actions when we know we could have made a better choice, but it is not okay to continually belittle our worth as human beings. If you become disappointed with yourself, examine your thoughts and feelings that led you to act in a certain way. Then focus your thoughts on what you need to change in order to make better choices. You want to try?
I'll try. Thoughts like, I'm so stupid, I can't do anything right, or it doesn't matter what choice I made, I'm always wrong, are self-defeating. They will not help you to change or improve. The danger in thinking negatively about yourself is that after a while you begin to believe it. If you believe that you can't do anything right, then you will put forth no effort in making right decisions. You will continue to repeat the same negative behavior.
Okay. Would you like to read it?
People who get into the habit of thinking negatively about themselves are more likely to get talked into experimenting with risk-taking behaviors such as premarital sex, drugs, or crime. they tend to have, I have nothing to live for, so I might as well do whatever attitude. In the study done on former drug and alcohol abusers, a common thread was found. These persons all reported having negative thoughts about themselves and their abilities. This left them feeling as if their lives were worthless and they were failures.
Self-control is learning to control the way you think about even yourself. Right? By examining or critiquing your behavior for the purpose of improving yourself, you are practicing self-control. On the other hand, when you persist in thinking about yourself in a negative way and make no attempt to change your behavior, you are not practicing self-control. You are being your own worst critic. Once you are down on yourself, it is really easy to stay down and continue to wallow in negative thoughts. It takes self-control to learn to replace negative thoughts with the positive ones. So there goes that hot thought versus cool thought again. Right? To replace those, what we in the Peaceful Solution call hot thoughts, with cool thoughts, even about yourself. So here's something to consider. You wouldn't consider someone as a friend who puts you down and call you names. So don't do it to yourself.
I like that.
Okay. Alright, so let me turn the page again. So it's not just about you. Control the way you think about others. This is a huge one. Control the way you think about others. Having negative thoughts about others can be just as dangerous as having negative thoughts about yourself. Negative thoughts about others come from a variety of sources. So, for example, you may have seen something someone did to you as unfair, or mean, or disrespectful. And sometimes people do things that get under your skin, or they tick you off, or they may frustrate you because you perceive their actions as unfair or mean. Thoughts like, he's so stupid, or I hate her, she's such a jerk, are only some examples of negative thoughts about others. Without self-control, thoughts like these have the potential to lead to violent behavior because they desensitize you to the fact that all people, even the ones that annoy you, right, are to be respected. Even the ones that annoy you. Okay. So, negative thoughts that lead to physical or even verbal abuse do not show care and concern, neither do they solve conflicts. That's a large one. Let's take it back to the self-control and how we consider the things we say and the things we do. To recognize that verbal abuse or physical abuse, it doesn't solve any conflict or provide any benefit to anyone, right? We could just consider these things. It'll stop us from doing a lot of things that we may do to someone who may be annoying us or aggravating us or frustrating us, right? Okay. In fact, they will only create bigger problems. So it is up to you to control your thoughts about others so that you can interact with compassion and empathy. This means to have care and concern regarding another's physical, mental, and emotional well-being. So there goes that putting others' needs before your own. It takes a lot of self-control to direct your thoughts away from how someone is treating you and focus instead on what you can do to solve your differences, but it can be done. So there will be a later lesson on how to positively resolve conflicts so that they do not result in any type of violence or aggression. For now, remember that aggressive behavior stems from negative thoughts and it's up to you to control how you think about others. So, who's ever heard that saying, if you don't have something nice to say, don't say it at all? Right? Okay. So what if I told you, if you don't have something nice to say about someone, but you may be thinking it, right? You're not necessarily saying it. What if I said, identify those thoughts and how it's making you feel and change it, work to change it? Okay, so if we're thinking something, just like how we talked about controlling the way that we think about others, right? So for example, I'm just using you as an example. Say, I don't know, you didn't wash the dishes this evening. And I'm just going around the house, because remember, think about how our thoughts are powerful and they affect our behavior. I'm going around the house, I may be angry, like, okay, why didn't he do this? Oh my word, he's so, blank. He's so blank. Even though I may not be saying it, so let's think of that saying, if you don't have something nice to say, don't say it at all. Even though I'm not saying it, I may be thinking it, and it's affecting my behavior, so I may be ignoring him a little bit extra, or I may be responding to him in a certain way that is disrespectful, or what have you. It's important that we learn to change those thoughts, control those negative thoughts, because in some way it will have effect on how we're behaving. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. All right, so it's not just about you, so control the way you think about others. It's very important.
By turning your thoughts away, by doing what we already discussed. Like, consider there's another one in here, right?
Yeah.
Turn your thoughts away.
Yeah, consider them above yourself, or even just consider that, okay, in this example, how I'm acting towards him, he may start feeling a little angry, like, why is she snubbing me off?
And snowballs the effect.
Yeah, it's that ripple effect.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay. So.
But isn't that kind of like tantrum stuff again?
Tantrum? Like,
like the baby that's tantruming inside, because
not practicing self-control.
So that, and I mean, even on my part, that would be a lack of self-control if I'm not, okay, well, maybe I could have been like, well, maybe he was a little busy tonight, or, maybe, I could just go ahead and, knock these few dishes out, because I've actually had days like that. Right? So, you see what I'm saying with that?
Or even bring it up to him.
Yeah, even bring it up to him. That's even considering a possible solution to the problem. Right?
But because I got some problems going on right now, where it's like I brought it up to you, and didn't have any empathy for me. Not once or twice, whatever. How many times do you do that? But anyways, that's something else.
It's not actually in your packet, but we're just going to go over it and summarize it. Self-control is also a matter of choice. I'm going to learn how self-control, once again, we're going to go a little bit more into how it plays a role in your choices. So the next important step to developing self-control is understanding the role of choices in the way that you think, feel, and act. A choice is the power to make a selection between one or more options, right? That's what a choice is. Every day you make choices. You choose which thoughts to focus on and which thoughts to throw out. You choose to get up in the morning. You choose what you're going to eat for breakfast. You choose even if you're going to have breakfast, right? But it's important to remember that